Video games and violence have gone hand in hand for some time, but it's that kind of relationship which you'd hear through thick walls and want to call the police. Because violence and video games have been getting more and more extreme in line with console and PC hardware advances. Back in the day, Mortal Kombat was instrumental in creating the age rating classification system that exists today. And while it was intended to protect all the little ones from seeing boobs, violence, and anything edgier than a circular pillow, nowadays developers actively use their 18+ ratings to shift units. So many titles today are filled to the brim with blood, gore, and exploding testicles. But through this ocean of claret, there are a few who are the true superstars of the sanguine. So let's take a look at them today. With this in mind, I'm Jules from WhatCulture.com, and here are the 10 goriest video games of all time. Number 10. Harvester. It's doubtful you'll find a game as bloody and bizarre as this point-and-click adventure game from the mid-90s. The equivalent to a trashy B-movie, its violent content was so controversial at the time that it generated quite a bit of buzz. But unfortunately, development hell kept this game from being a commercial success upon its release. Since then, it's actually gained quite a cult following for its nonsensical plot and over-the-top gore sequences. One of which actually reminds me of Cardiff for some reason. I don't really know why, but it's the one where you come across a mother being eaten alive by her own kids. Harvester is a baffling mess of a game, and one that seeks out to offend every sensibility you have. And for that, it's truly unique. Number 9. Sniper Elite 3. Now, technically Sniper Elite 3 isn't the most frequently gory of games, at least compared to the others of its kind, but what it lacks in sheer volume, it makes up for its attention to detail in its anatomically correct killings. As the name suggests, the game is about precision kills, but what makes it different from other sniper-based shooters is the X-ray kill cam shots that allow you to follow the pathway of the bullet as it hits its target. As you watch your little metal buddy fly gracefully through the air, it's almost peaceful. A perfect example of aerodynamics and engineering. Then it hits someone, and you watch their innards become outed in a cascading flow of red. The game even rewards you for trick shots and bouncing bullets, adding even more flair to the breaking bones, popping eyes, and furor filleting. Number 8. Doom 2016. When the original Doom was released back in 1993, gamers got to experience an assault on their senses like no other. It was so quick, so tight, so goddamn violent that it was unbelievable fun. So why is this bloody monstrosity not on the list? Well, because Bethesda decided to reboot the franchise and up the gore to insane levels. The game is a roller coaster of up-close and personal takedowns, headshots, and over-the-top annihilations. It never lets up and forces the player into intense firefights, all of which only end when one party is reduced to mulch. Add to that gameplay that requires you to collect health and ammo by melee murder, and you've got a game which is gore-nography at its finest. Number 7. The Evil Within. The Evil Within is gory in nearly every facet of its production. Everything from the horrifically violent deaths to the designs of the enemies themselves acts like my search history and is meant to repulse and disturb. And this game doesn't waste any time letting you know what's what, as the opening moments have you escaping from being butchered alive and then falling into a vat of blood and body parts. And that, as they say, is just the tip. Every creature is a grotesque and bloody monstrosity, as are all the ways in which they can kill you. In many ways, Shinji Mikami has topped anything he's done in the Resident Evil series with The Evil Within, at least in terms of the amount of gore. It's by no means a perfect title, but it sure does look good in red. Number 6. Manhunt 2. A video game like Manhunt is practically made just to upset people, and that's indeed what happened with the first game, which continues to be the gold standard of "No, Timmy, don't play that!" And yet, despite this controversy, Manhunt would go on to get a sequel, and this one upped its brutality by quite a bit. Executions are more varied, the environment is now used to greater effect, and you're encouraged to kill and mutilate people in the most brutal fashion possible. In fact, Manhunt 2 is so violent and gory that it was heavily censored just so it could get released. But if you can get your grubby mitts on an uncensored version, you'll be able to experience some of the most disturbing deaths you'll ever see in a video game. Number 5. Dead Space 2. No compilation of the goriest video games would be complete without Dead Space 2 and its love of killing Isaac Clarke in insane ways. The necromorphs are some of the most grotesque representations of body horror you'll ever see, looking like the thing that David Cronenberg and Lovecraft would make if they got all freaky at an all-you-can-yiff Cthulhu orgy. Dismembering these beasts is truly gross and kind of awesome, but it works both ways, as Isaac can get murdered, mutilated, decapitated, and all-round eviscerated in manners which will make you want to call your mum. Basically, Dead Space is a bloodbath regardless of who's on the receiving end. Number 4. Mad World. The Wii is often thought of as a console for children, which makes the Wii exclusive Mad World all the more shocking. Imagine the hyper-stylized world of Sin City, but even more insanely violent, and you get Mad World. As you slaughter your way through the game, Mad World's beautifully rendered black and white world is constantly punctuated with intense bursts of red. It's a unique graphical style that turns the constant acts of brutal violence into a work of visual splendor. Style aside, there's no denying the sheer amount of blood and guts in this game. If it were possible to measure, it would likely be enough to fill one John Goodman. And that's a lot. Number 3. Fallout 3. While the Fallout series has always been bloody, the VATS targeting system in Fallout 3 introduced a new aspect to the combat of the series, allowing you to aim and fire at specific body parts. Though it's certainly tactical, what really stands out is the Bloody Mess perk, which turns enemies into, well, a bloody mess. The slowed down shower of limbs is truly a sight to behold, and the gritty, kind of gross art style just adds to the spectacle. This system makes nearly every death immensely satisfying, which in turn makes you feel powerful. It's like watching a painter complete a masterpiece, but in this case the paint is blood and bits of brain, the canvas is the floor, and your brush is a rather large gun. Number 2. No More Heroes. Another gory wonder from the Wii back catalogue, No More Heroes starts as it means to carry on, with a shower of blood that would make Tarantino's spurt shrink in comparison. You play as Weeb Travis Touchdown as he carves his way to the top of the assassin version of Club Penguin. Along the way you meet all manner of weirdos who all love a bit of the red stuff, and cutting them limb from limb upon beating them is satisfying and gory in equal measure. The thing I love most about this game is just how it appropriates its violence. Travis is shown to be disconnected from his actions and an altogether scumbag, showing that violence for the sake of violence leads those who follow that mantra on a path of self-destruction. Oh, and I forgot to mention that he's only murdering people so he can get laid. So yeah, sex and violence, baby. And number 1, Mortal Kombat 10. Mortal Kombat is infamous for being one of the most unapologetically violent video game series around. The original became notorious for its fatalities, and since then the series has only gone on to embrace this notoriety. While every Mortal Kombat is gory in its own right, it's the latest game that goes above and beyond. Mortal Kombat 10, taking advantage of the new console generation, features fatalities that are even more detailed and gruesome than ever before. It's got an almost sickening fascination with organs and bones, which means that every X-ray punch feels like a freight train and every torn muscle is as visceral as it can get. Sure, it verges on being a bit campy sometimes, but we all know that watching many of these for the first time made us all sound off with a collective, ugh, oh god. And that's our list. Got any other gory games we missed? Well, let us know about them in the comments section below. And if you want to come get bloody with yours truly, you can do so here or on my personal Twitter, RetroJ0. As always, if you enjoyed the video, then like, share and subscribe for more. I've been Jules for WhatCulture.com, and I'll see you soon.